How would you like to improve your health and keep your family safe? You're listening to the Healthy Home Hacks Podcast, where we firmly believe enjoying optimal health shouldn't be a luxury. Healthy Home Authorities and husband and wife team Ron and Lisa will help you create a home environment that will level up your health. It's time to hear from the experts. Listen in on honest conversations and gain the best tips and advice. If you're ready to dive in and improve your well-being and increase your energy, you're in the right place. All right, here are your hosts, biobiologists, authors, media darlings, vicarious vegans, and avocado aficionados, Ron and Lisa Barris.
There's an old fable that says if you put a frog in a pot of boiling water, it will react immediately and try to escape. However, if you put a frog in cool water and very gradually heat it up, the frog will be stuck in the comfort of its surroundings and stay complacent until it's too hot and too late. This serves as a brilliant metaphor for our own human behavior and our ignorance to the rollout of technology happening in the modern age.
Okay, that is true. Now let's take a look at the numbers. Today in 2022, an average cell phone user interacts with their phone more than, get this, 2,000 times every day. Yikes. Cell phone users touch their phones 2,617 times a day. Friends, is that you? And while the top 10% of cell phone users, these guys are known as the extreme cell phone users, interact with their mobile devices even more, touching their phones more than 5,000 times a day. A study by Apple found that iPhone users unlock their phones 6 to 7 times an hour and engage in about 80 phone sessions a day. 97% of Americans own a cell phone of some kind, and 85% own a smartphone. The number of Americans that own a smartphone has increased 50% over the past decade.
But is all this smart technology improving our quality of life or harming our health? Our guest today is here to tell us, so hang on tight. You are not going to want to miss this show.
This episode of Healthy Home Hacks is brought to you by AiresTech. Are you worried about electromagnetic fields in your environment? Do you want to rest easier knowing that you're protecting yourself and your family from dangerous radiation emitted from wireless devices in and around your home and office? Try lifetune products made by AiresTech, peer-reviewed and backed by science. AiresTech patented EMF Modulation Technology keeps you connected without the negative biological effects. Equip your phone, laptop, home, even your pet with their easy-to-use solutions. Coexist with technology and visit AiresTech.com. That's AiresTech.com to learn more. And friends, use RL30 off. That's RL30OFF to save 30% on your entire purchase.
Founder, CEO, and president of AiresTech, Dimitry Serov, has his diploma from St. Petersburg College of Economics and Business Management. Dimitry's involvement with technology has been instrumental in facilitating the adaptation of the original Aires technology into the current consumer-oriented form. Dimitry, welcome to the show.
Welcome. Thank you so much for having me here. Appreciate it.
Welcome, Dimitry. We're so happy to have you. This is going to be a fantastic show. This is very different that we're going to get into today. We've done a lot of shows on electromagnetic fields and electromagnetic radiation, but your technology is really different. So just to get started, can you explain to our listeners what exactly EMFs are and why they're harmful to our health and the environment?
This is a very good question. I think what I would start with first is something that is very important to understand. In the beginning of the show, you mentioned all the statistics, how many moments and times we interact with our cell phone. And this is where the problem starts. You see, your cell phone by itself, probably not a big concern. It will affect you in a negative way, ever slightly. And if you're overall a healthy person, if you would be only exposed to the electromagnetic field of your cell phone and only your cell phone, saying you are in a Sahara desert and there's nothing else around you, most of the chances that you will be fine.
Right.
However, what we are not taking into consideration at all, and I'm talking about us as consumers and even the government, when they are coming up with regulations and when they're coming up with guidelines of how much exposure we can get as humans, is the accumulative effect. And this is where the alarm is, especially with the rollout of the 5th generation telecommunication technology. This is what the biggest problem that people don't understand and no one talks about is the accumulative effect of all these devices, 24/7, 365, emitting non-ionized low frequency electromagnetic field that is dramatically affects our health in a negative way. So all the research and all the guidelines and all the studies out there to date that I'm aware of were made on one single device in the controlled environment. So if there is a company, if we would make a new cell phone and open up and launch a new company, FCC or whoever tested that will take that phone, will take people in a room and measure only the exposure of that phone on you and nothing else.
On a very large male, like 180,
exactly. So,
6 foot, 885 pounds.
And very, very specific amount of time and angle. So this is just not a real life.
Right.
And this is just not a real test. What's important to understand that all radiation, including radiofrequency, electromagnetic field, they have accumulative effects.
Mm-hmm.
And because right now we have 10, 15, 20 devices in our room that non-stop emitting EMF, all these accumulative electromagnetic waves interacting with us, this is what causes all these problems. And some people have them severe. I have to tell you that EHS.
Yeah.
Look it up. It stands for electro-hypersensitivity. In most countries in Europe, EHS is as a disease.
Right.
In America, EHS is an allergy. So a different approach. So what we have done, we have created a device that dramatically reduces the negative effects of the electromagnetic radiation of the devices that you are using. And by reducing the overall exposure from the surrounding electromagnetic field and all your devices that you're using accumulatively, this is going to basically reduce the negative effects. And in some of our studies, it's up to 100%, and some of them showing over 90%, and majority of them are significant reduction of the negative.
That's a really interesting point you made, Dimitry. Ron and I are building biologists. You're probably familiar with biobiology. It was derived from Germany and brought to the United States. And we talk about how your building, your home, and your environment affects your health. And we learned about EHS, this electromagnetic sensitivity. And, here in the United States, a lot of people are like, what? That's a made up illness that doesn't exist. So it's interesting you say it's like considered an allergy there. It's considered like an actual... It is
an allergy in the US, but in Sweden, for example, it's a disease.
A disease, yeah.
It's a disease, yeah. It will be diagnosed and they'll tell you you're sick.
Exactly. Yeah.
People are becoming allergic and sick to the 21st century for sure. I mean, you're right about the bombardment of all this, the accumulation of all this Wi-Fi technology in combination with the phone. Yeah, you're right. They're not doing the appropriate tests to figure that out.
And this is across the globe. It's the same industry. I mean, we are basically, as far as I know, we are based on safety code 6. Look it up. I think these regulations are from the 70s.
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
Yes. And they haven't been updated in 25 years.
No, they were not.
No, 25 years. Think of the phone 25 years ago. It was probably the big block or something. It was at least the flip phone.
Yes, you're right.
So that was the regulations were based on that.
What also is very important to mention is that we exist as a company. And that's basically the main difference between us, because there are many products out there that claiming some sort of protection from the negative effects of electromagnetic radiation. As a matter of the fact, there are many products out. What's important to understand that really it divides into 2 categories. 99% of them, and I mean 99%, it's really 99%, are holistic products. They have some sort of a mineral-based element, which may indeed work. I'm not saying that these products are not working, maybe very effective, but they're holistic products. Either it's a crystal, some sort of magnets or elements, but these are all mineral-based elements wrapped in some way, and You use it somehow and that's it. They're not backed up by any science. They don't have any research behind them. They don't claim they do. And you use them. Within this 99% holistic products, there are also a significant amount of products that are blockers, EMF blocker. Because the first thing comes to people's mind when they think, okay, if my Wi-Fi router or my baby monitor emits electromagnetic field and it's bad, let's block it. And they're absolutely right. By blocking it, there will be no exposure anymore.
Right. But you won't be able to get the signal.
But then this phone will never ring again.
Right.
And this is not the point. The point is not to stop technology. The point is that we continue using the technology because technology is amazing. And I have a very good analogy behind it. In the beginning of 20th century, we invented a thing called the automobile. Yeah. And there were not a lot of them, and they were very, very, very dirty. They were emitting horrible amount of pollution because no one really tried to do anything with it. And that was fine. But then at one point, there becomes so many of them that we realized that, listen, it's impossible to live near these machines, but we never banned them. We invented the catalytic converter. We invented an exhaust. We invented filter system. So now when you are interacting with them, you get less of a damage. This is exactly where we exist. We are not blocking the electromagnetic field. Our product doesn't interfere with your electronic devices, doesn't interfere with them at all. It's an EMF modulation technology, which we basically modulate off our microprocessor that acts like a noise cancellation headphones. You got an EMF coming from a cell phone that is chaotic, and we are using that electromagnetic field to power our microchip. And then our microchip emits a counter field, which goes against the existing field of the cell phone or any other electronic device. And basically, the way we produce our counter field is a superposition, coherent electromagnetic field structure, which completely neutralizes the negative effects of that chaotic waves that coming off the phone. So in a way, it acts like a noise cancellation.
Right. I thought that was a great analogy. I've read that on your site. That explains to people, because when you've got the noise canceling headphones on, you're hearing the music that you want to hear. You're not hearing anything outside of that. And that's the whole point. And we have talked about this a lot on the show that, it's this catch-22 with a lot of the devices, the blocking devices, because if you're blocking the waves coming to you, the radiation, then you're blocking the signal and vice versa. So how do you manage that? And so your technology is so different and so unique. And on a side note, what got you into this field and how did you end up wanting to create a product like this?
Well, there is a long history behind this. This whole started as a project of finding a method. It has nothing to do to the product that we are building today. My family, they had a research center and they were basically looking at methods of EMF diffraction technology. So how would you take EMF and not block it, diffract it? And the original idea was to create a method to find a way to deal with the exposure of electromagnetic field. And really, the original idea was to use it for military and specifically for mobile air defense radar systems. That's basically what was the original R&D done for. No one at that point thought that, okay, we're going to make a product, we're going to wrap it up, we're going to sell it online to customers and we make it business. Absolutely not. That was just a math and computer modeling calculations, very significant, and basically designing a way how you can influence electromagnetic field without blocking it, because the whole point of these radars that they should continue working. You cannot block their signal at all.
Yeah.
And how you do that? And we found a way, and that's basically was it.
Okay.
I'm so glad you explained this to me, because a lot of people are skeptical about EMF protection devices, but your products have 8 peer-reviewed studies that back up the efficacy of the product.
We also have publication in peer-reviewed journals. And there is another late presentation. We just presented our research on the Congress of Physics in European Union just a few weeks ago. That will be a publication as well in the European Union in the peer-reviewed research papers on the physics behind the way our product works.
Mm-hmm.
So,
wow.
yeah, and I came in, I seen the opportunity. I was obviously aware of what's happening there, but I was doing other things. And then I realized that I need to get it. So being here in the West, in Canada, I opened up this company here and brought the intellectual property to the Canadian company. We took the company public, did initial public offering, was very successful. We moved all the supply chain to European Union. So our product, the microprocessors are, we have two factories where we make our microprocessors. One is made in a factory near Brussels, it's Belgium. So it's called the ON Semiconductor, which is a Fortune 500 semiconductor company, is massive. I think it's 2 billion euros facility. I'm not kidding you.
Wow.
2 billion euros.
Okay.
And it's in the heart of Belgium. There are some other components that we get from Hong Kong, like the resonator antenna. And then everything is packaged and final assembly production is in the European Union, where we assemble the product, and that's where it's shipped from.
Is it worldwide? Can anyone get it worldwide?
You can get it worldwide, absolutely. Originally, we were flying it to our fulfillment centers in the US.
Okay.
But just this year, we opened up 2 more fulfillment centers, one in Australia, because there's tremendous amount of interest and request for our product from Australia and New Zealand. So we have seen that there is a problem, the last mile delivery, especially when you ship from US to Australia. I mean, look at the geography. It's another planet. So we realized that something needs to be done, and we opened fulfillment center in Australia that is right now shipping product from Australia. We also opened up fulfillment center in Poland, in Warsaw, which is open but not fulfillable yet. Just a few paperwork needs to be wrapped up. And that's where our main fulfillment center for the European Union will be at. So customers in European Union or in Europe geography-wise, not necessarily European Union as a union, but anywhere within that territory.
Matka Boska, Dimitri. Matka Boska. That my Polish grandmother would say. Matka Boska.
So I just came back from Warsaw. I mean, I've been there. Yeah, so we should start fulfilling as well. We have a fulfillment center in East Coast USA, West Coast USA, and in Canada, in Ottawa.
Wow, you're everywhere. Okay. So your EMR modulation technology is for use for anyone listening. You're like, what are you guys talking about? I mean, listen, Dimitri's smart, and thank God for smart people like him and the people on his team, these physicists and engineers who can figure this out. But just to put it in layman's terms, these are devices you can use on your data transmitting electronics. This would include your cell phone, your cordless phone, wireless earpieces, wireless headsets, your computer, laptops, monitors, your smart TVs, baby monitors, Wi-Fi routers, and so much more. So Dimitry, people listening have likely never heard of EMR modulation technology, and you kind of went into that, but can you give us a little more of how that works, the science behind it?
Yes, I can. Absolutely. These are good questions. So again, if we would narrow it down, you have your holistic products that they use some sort of a mineral-based element that may somehow influence the electromagnetic field, and therefore you get protected. That's number one. 99% of the products out there are like that. Then you have EMF blockers, which definitely work, 100% effective, but your phone or whatever you're trying to shield from will not work. So that's a good product to use if you wanted to basically go back to the Stone Age. And that's the product to use because it's guaranteed effective, 100%.
Well, at that point, Dimitri, you may as well put your phone off or in airplane mode.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah, so you're kind of like, what's the point?
So by the way, airplane mode doesn't solve the problem completely, just so you know.
Right, because you have to put also the cell data up.
You still have EMF with airplane mode. So, and then there is our technology, probably some other technologies out there. I'm not saying that this is the only solution here. This is our solution. What we are doing, and it's a very complicated process and device. I'll try to make it simple for whoever listening to us today. There are 2 types of electromagnetic field. There is electromagnetic field emitted by our body cells, which is stable, coherent, and it's in a sphere-like waveform. Every single body cell has a whole world in it, and there are a lot of processes, and all these body cells emit electromagnetic field. They are full of electromagnetic field, and this is normal. This electromagnetic field is great. It's our own electromagnetic field. We know everything about this type of electromagnetic field. We can record it. We can put it in a program. We can create computer models. We know everything about it. Then there is a second type of EMF, which emits by data telecommunication devices.
Man-made technology.
Man-made electromagnetic device. This type of electromagnetic field is never stable for even a millisecond. It's a digital noise. It's a spike-like waveform and always chaos. And I mean always. Okay? What happens when...
Always what? Always
a chaos.
Chaos,
Digital
yeah.
noise, right? Chaotic.
Yeah, chaotic. And we have an EMF analyzer that we use sometimes just to show people, the microwave and things. And the noise, just hearing the noise, because we don't hear it, right? We don't actually get to hear it on our day to day. And when you hear it for the first time, what it actually sounds like that chaotic sound, it's enough to drive you nuts. Well, but your cells are hearing that and your body is picking up on that, even though you're not audibly hearing it.
Yeah. So by knowing the two things, the logic thing that comes to our mind is how we take the electromagnetic field of a cell phone, for example. And cell phone is just one example. I mean, it used to be the biggest product that you want to worry about, not anymore. So, and how you would basically modify the electromagnetic field of that source and match it with, or make it like the same type of EMF as emitted by our body cells.
Okay.
Because if you could do that, theoretically at least, that type of electromagnetic field around that device would be matched to our baseline electromagnetic field. Therefore, it's safe to say that there will be no physical reaction to it in any negative way. So what we did, we took that structure of the electromagnetic field of a body cell, and we, using very complicated computer modeling calculations, we basically created a nano circular diffraction lattice.
Whoa. Don't try to repeat that, friends.
It's about 2,200,000 circular resonators organized on a special pattern. And all of this is etched using the lithographic equipment on a microchip on a silicon wafer semiconductor.
Wow.
We etch it with a density of channels of 0.2 nanometers. Your hair thickness is 100 nanometers.
Right.
We are able to take 2,200,000 resonators, circular resonators, organize, and this is the key of the technology, because I have to say that the computer file for this circular diffraction nano lattice, it took 300 computer hours to open for one of the biggest semiconductor companies in the world.
Wow.
300 computer hours just to process the file. Okay?
Wow, that's incredible.
Using the micro lithographic equipment, this micro pattern, which is a know-how of our company, that's the main working element, is etched on the semiconductor, on the chip.
I'm going to show it for people.
Exactly. Right.
That's how beautiful it is.
If you're going to look at the light, you will see that there is a pattern in it.
Yeah.
But your eye cannot see 0.2 nanometer steps.
Right.
And you see like a fingerprint. But if you zoom in using an electron microscope, not electronic microscope, electron microscope, you will see individual resonators channel and the whole structure. Okay.
Wow.
So what happens then? And then there is a gold. It's gold by design. I mean, it's not pure gold throughout. We use technology that we fuse nano gold particles with alloys, and we create a very conductive antenna around the chip.
Oh, wow.
And now basically you get a passive microchip. Why passive? I hear you asking, if it's a microprocessor, where is the power supply? And the passive microprocessor doesn't require a power supply. It gets powered by the electromagnetic field of a device it is installed on.
Oh,
a very good example of a passive microchip is a chip in your credit card. There is no power supply. There is no battery in here or electrical cord.
Right.
So what happens when you install it on your cell phone or any other electronic device? And I'm only describing one product because we have 4. They all work kind of the same, but there are differences in them.
Okay.
And then when you install it on the phone and your phone is off, the device is dead. It does nothing. But the moment you turn on your cell phone, the moment you power it on, there is a polarization, a charge build up. It happens in a millisecond instantly. And then the polarization build up, it's been registered by the resonator antenna around the chip, and the energy particles, the electromagnetic field actually syncs on the chip.
Okay. Wow. So it's using
Now on the chip itself, you have this on the chip itself.
Yeah.
You have this nano lattice, specially organized, specially designed, very complicated, that get filled with the energy. And what happened, because it's a semiconductor, because it's a silicon wafer, there is a counter field reflects out of it like you would reflect a light beam from the mirror. There is a 3-dimensional reflection.
Like a hologram.
Like a hologram, 100%.
Okay,
coming out. But this hologram is not just a hologram. It actually has the structure of what's on the plate of the semiconductor. But now it's a sphere-like. And we just created a counter field that is coherent, holographic, and in a sphere-like waveform, super organized, which is an exact match of that coherent electromagnetic field emitted by our body cell.
Wow, that is so interesting.
That field now acts as a superposition. It's just physics. Any other electromagnetic field interacting with this field that we just created. And of course, there is limitations. There is a range. It's not infinite.
Yeah, what is the range?
I'll talk about the range in a minute. But any other type of electromagnetic field, whether it's coming to the phone, off the phone, left, right, when it touches that electromagnetic field, it's reorganizing itself according
to that was my next question.
Let me explain really quick to the listeners, and this is very scientific, and we really appreciate all the effort you did to create this product and technology. So the listeners may remember back in the day when I gave the example of the tuning fork, right? So our bodies give off an electrical pulse. We have a certain frequency, and unfortunately, our environment can basically affect the frequency, and that can disrupt our life by not allowing us to sleep as well, or maybe can cause some immunity disorders with us. So what we're doing here, like this noise cancellation example, we're taking the effect of what would be a tuning fork that is tapped. And if you place that tuning fork adjacent to another tuning fork that wasn't tapped, it will take on that vibration just like our body does to the environment. You are canceling that out in a way with your technology. You're buffering it. Noise cancellation was the best example, but I just wanted to make people aware, like what you're doing is you're creating tranquility. You're actually creating a harmonious environment for the people that are in it, so they're no longer affected as much by the radiation that's around them every day, because we can't escape the 21st century. Right, Dimitri?
Was that right, Dimitri?
And we don't want to escape.
That's right.
Right.
I'm very comfortable with all my electronic devices around me. I can't even live without them, to be honest with you anymore. So that's why I made this example. And just one of many examples of, at the beginning of 20th century cars, no one would ever say that let's stop. We have too much of exposure. Let's now limit people using technology. No.
Yeah.
That's not the right thing to do. There are ways how you can reduce the accumulative effect of electromagnetic radiation. And no one talks about accumulative effects. No one understands that. And every single product that hits the market being stamped by the regulator as a safe to use, they only looked at how much exposure that one device emits at a given time.
I'd say they do that with chemicals too, Dimitri. We talk about, when they set the standards for these toxic chemicals and these cancer-causing chemicals that are in a lot of the products we use every day.
Yeah, they took one apple, they look at one apple and they say, well, the chemicals inside this apple are not going to hurt you, but because everything else is chemicals, and now you didn't eat one apple, you eat a bunch of other things. Right. I guarantee you, if they take my desktop, and I'm by far not the extreme user of technology, if they take my desktop and repeat the test, they ban it. They say this is too much, it's not allowed.
Yes, right.
And they know that. So they take each individual component.
Right.
And they test it. And each of them is fine.
It's amazing that you've been able to kind of create something that has kept up with the speed of all this technology, the acceleration, that actually can protect us, because I was one of those people that was like, hey, you just need to reduce your use. You need to stop having all these devices. But, you found a way that we don't have to abandon our technology and our conveniences, and that can work on 5G. So this product actually, does it work on 3G, 4G, 5G,
so
all of that?
The latest product, this is the third generation of the microchip. The original product was designed for LTE, 4G. 4G stands for fourth generation. The lifetune series of devices has the newer microchips inside. Okay. And these are all tested up to 32 gigahertz and millimeter waves. Now, what really the catch is the more dense the etching on the silicon wafer, if we can make it more dense, we will increase the range. Okay. And we can work with a lot more EMF. But there is a physical limitation of the semiconductor lithographic technology that they're just not able to etch more dense. Not today, maybe in 10 years. But right now, that's it.
Okay.
0.2 nanometers. I mean, most of the electronics out there, they're etched at 0.6, 0.8 nanometers.
Yeah. You guys are. So that's amazing. Now, you came from the automotive industry. Are you a physicist or an engineer, or what is your?
Absolutely not.
Really?
I've just been involved. As I said, my family started this research, and I'm a very curious person. So I dive into, and again, no one at that time even considered to do a business out of it.
Right.
And no one thought that we're going to make a product that we're going to sell to people. It was an R&D project only. It was almost, we spent over $20 million US.
Wow.
In almost 10 years.
Wow.
That's a lot.
It's not product design. It's just the research and coming up of A, how you approach the problem, B, what is it going to be on paper? Okay. And mathematics behind it. And that's it. And then I came in and I said, that's a business.
Yeah.
Never mind as a business. This is something that, can greatly help people.
Right.
Then when you combine the two, you get a lot of motivation. And that's exactly what happened with me. So.
Well, that's great. I love how it organically evolved that way.
I do.
Dimitry, what are some of the environmental toxins, electromagnetic radiation, and technologies we use today? And what effect do they have on the environment, ecology, and vulnerable groups? Like, so for example, children, pregnant women, and immune compromised people.
This is a whole topic by its own, okay? We all different, and tolerances for everything. I mean, I can drink 2 beers and get out of order, and you can have 6 beers and get out of order, right? So we all different, and same thing with our tolerance to the electromagnetic field. So 100% that is already proven as a fact, okay? And I'm not a scientist, so I will not make strong claims here. I'll just repeat what I know. Kids are way more affected by electromagnetic radiation than adults, and its cognitive effect. Very significant.
Yeah.
Okay. You see, I'll give you a quick analogy here. Not analogy, test we did. Our own study that you can repeat any given moment. If you look at the blood cell, you have red blood cells and white blood cells, and the white blood cells, they go through the capillaries, and they usually go as an individual pieces, right? They're little tiny individual things. Sometimes 2 of them stuck together, 3 of them come together, but most of them are separated, and they go, okay? And they go through your capillaries in the brain, which are extremely thin. And then if we'll put you in front of the computer, same thing I'm doing right now. I'm sitting around the computer, there's a Wi-Fi router in this room, 15 minutes. And we look live under the microscope at the same person's blood. We see now that these cells are going in clusters of 2,000-3,000 of them, stacking together. Okay? And with kids, it's this effect even greater. And then what happens? They will pass through an artery or a vein, but they are not passing through the capillaries in your brain. They're clogging them. Now, you're not going to have a heart attack or anything like that, because It didn't stop the blood supply, but cognitively, right?
Yeah.
And then that's why you're saying, okay, what did I do this morning? Oh, where did I go yesterday? Oh, 7 times 3, how much is that? And you know all these answers, but you don't know them right now.
Oh,
Foggy brain, right?
But
Foggy
you
brain.
don't know them right now. You just don't. This is exactly what's happening.
Interesting. And the children's brain
They're just
is developing
so much more improved. Now, another thing is a huge thing, and again, this is just proven already worldwide, is fertility. People cannot get kids. They cannot.
Yes. Infertility, it's huge right now.
Like if you're one of these people and you have issues, you really need to watch exposure to electromagnetic radiation, because this is one of them. There could be a million other things, but for sure that it has a massive effect. There are a lot of studies.
Getting pregnant and when you are pregnant. And when you are pregnant, the baby in utero.
And talking about environment, the biggest problem is bees and insects.
Yeah, bees, right? I mean, the bees are telling the story.
We actually running a study. It's an observation study that is long. It's not a day or two. It's like a year long. It's happening as we speak. We supplied our lifetune rooms to bees farmers in Canada, and many of them. As we speak, they have their hives. Hives, is that right?
Yeah,
hives with our product in it, and they're monitoring daily and write reports.
Wow.
It's happening right now.
The bees are doing good that have the product in there?
I'm not going to say anything.
Oh, okay, we got to wait. Cliffhanger.
It's actually, we did a study on honeybees that is on our website, and we also did a study
Got a link to that.
Oyster rats.
What was that called again?
These studies are published on our website, but these are more pretty fast studies. There are different studies now. We're just doing lifetime, like a whole year observation study.
Right.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay,
wow.
wow.
Yeah, because the bees are so sensitive and they're responsible for a third of our food supply. So when
absolutely.
the bees are harmed, a lot of people don't realize that. And Ron and I, we hike a lot and we notice these dead bees, and try to save them whenever we see a bee struggling. But yeah, you wonder, is it the electromagnetic radiation? Is it the pesticides? Is it all of it? What's going on with these bees? Because they're the clue. They're telling us something's not right in the environment.
It's the fact that EMF, like even look at the military equipment. How are you, like you have a submarine in the middle of somewhere, right, in the ocean, and then there is another submarine. How they see each other?
Right.
They use sonars, right?
Sonar, yeah.
How you jam this equipment? You're actually masking it with electromagnetic field, and there are many other things.
Yes, right. The Philadelphia experiment.
So
Did
now,
they
like if you can affect a missile, how it actually locks on the target by jamming it with electromagnetic field?
Yeah.
What it takes to jam the receptions of a bee trying to navigate, and you have these Wi-Fi towers everywhere.
Yeah, couldn't need to take that much, right?
You don't even need to go far. I mean, look at the real things that are happening in technology. I mean, if someone wants to jam reception and navigation in the entire city, this is easy to do.
Wow.
And you use electromagnetic field. You use electromagnetic energy. What about, do you think 5G is new? 5G came out of militaries from the 80s.
Oh, wow.
Israeli were doing crowd control by emitting 5G millimeter wave on crowd, and suddenly your skin goes on fire.
Yes.
They control, they're not going to burn you to death. But now you just drop and you leave the demonstration.
That's horrible. So there's a very sinister side to what can be done.
Nothing came through our cell phones. That was not, it's all technology. This is new for us, for consumers, but it's not new.
What about, I mean, I know that's an extreme example, but what if there was, say, an energy targeted at you like that, and you had the lifetune device? Would that, like, say, a crowd control, would that protect you in a little?
I don't think it will protect against that.
No. Wanted to help people at the football games.
Listen, I don't know. I haven't tried.
You need a big one.
That's right.
What is the distance?
Theoretically, theoretically, it should adjust how much of process we can do, because I mean, our technology has its own limits.
Yeah.
This is not a 100%. As I mentioned, EMF blockers will solve your problem 100%. But say goodbye to technology.
You just won't have the access to your
catalytic converter. There is still some exhaust coming out, but it's just a lot less, right?
Great example.
How far is the distance of, say, the AiresTech device?
So we have a few devices. So the lifetune device, the ones that we only on this show today, we only talk about one product. We have 4.
Yeah.
So this product called lifetune device, it's designed to be installed on handheld consumer electronics that you mentioned. And it's about 2 meters in diameter.
2 meters. Okay.
2 meters in diameter.
And then
we have product like the lifetune room.
The room,
up to 500 square feet in diameter.
Okay. Really? Okay. That's a beautiful, by the way,
it's square feet. So you can put it in your living room, in your library, in your bedroom. And it also works awesome with electric cars. I mean, I have both of my cars are EVs and both of my cars have this inside.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's a great tip.
So we don't have to abandon our electric vehicles. That's great. And
no, you actually should not.
The room device is so beautiful. I have to say, it's for listeners who haven't seen it. It looks like a little oversized credit card, but it's very intricate and gold and iridescent and very, as Dimitri's explaining, very technologically, just complicated. And you can see that.
The aspects of it are not for being pretty, they're all functional.
They're just functional, but it is it looks like something you'd find in like Harry Potter world, or that's what I think when I see it. They're just beautiful looking devices. And there is one for your pets. And I know we're not going to talk too much
animals. And this is an interesting story. I was the last person to look into this segment for pets. But we started to receive emails almost daily.
Oh, wow.
Hey, I got your product. It's great. I love it. Do you have something for pets? I'm like, what?
Wow.
And then there's another email like that and another one and another one. And we got so many emails, people saying, well, do you have something for my pet? And physiologically, there is no difference.
Yeah.
So we just made a device that is robust. That works the same as it works on human. It's robust because the dog needs to run through the bushes, jump into the water. You know, you need to waterproof it, you need to shockproof it. So we just adopted it to be used on animals, right? Yeah. And imagine that little dog in New York City, in Manhattan, that goes out twice a day if he's lucky for 15 minutes and sleeps in a room that is full of EMF, or maybe sometimes nearly Wi-Fi router, and then all kind of health issues with these animals.
Yeah. It's stress. I would imagine the stress that they feel. And it's so cute. It can go on their collar. And if you're a real outdoorsy person, kayaking and all of this, you could also use that on yourself, right? You could put that on your keychain or on a necklace or whatever you want. So
absolutely.
You and your pet can be twinning around being like.
Dimitry, as a recap to our listeners who are not necessarily Big Bang Theory characters, who are physicists or engineers, right? I just want to, in layman terms, I want to recap some of the things we talked about. So the attenuator within the microprocessor of your product diffracts the EMF in its energy level by creating a holographic, canceling electromagnetic wave, which essentially reverses the original energy wave emitted by the source of the EMF. So you're not blocking.
That was taken from your
radiation.
website. Ron didn't come up with that one.
There you go. A little help there. So you were mitigating it. And you did a great job of explaining that in layman terms. I love the catalytic converter adoption, analogy from the automotive industry. I love the noise canceling example. Is there any other examples you can give us like that?
Yes, there is one very good. So the way diffraction works, so let's say, and this is the last one I'll give you for today, because there are many. But if you take a water hose, a pipe.
Okay, a water hose. Okay.
And they just open up the water. It's going to come out as just a line, right, of water. Right. And let's say that this line is just bad for you. Just for example, let's assume that it's just going to be painful on you because it's concentrated and it's going to hit you so hard in one spot. It's just going to be bruising you and it's painful. So what you do, you can diffract the water. So we can sit down, we can create some sort of a nozzle. We can design our own pattern on the nozzle, attach to the hose, open up the water. Now the water going to come out, reorganize according that design that we have made on it. There's a catch though. The effectiveness of this diffracted and reorganized water will be to a certain distance. At one point, it will lose its shape that we designed and go back into a messy stream again. That distance, this is the effective range, and it can be adjusted by either the water pressure or by the design of the nozzle and the material we use. So the more EMF you have in the environment, the better our product works. Because it's like pressure.
Better.
Absolutely, because these are passive devices and you need an electromagnetic field to get them working. If there is a lot of EMF,
you need the field.
You're going to have a stronger counter field. And that distance will be greater. If you have a little tiny EMF, they will function, but on a smaller scale.
Oh, okay. Now, do you recommend people use the PET one, say, as a wearable device and have it on their personal devices?
Absolutely. This product is, again, I mean, we call it lifetune mini for a reason, because it's good for both.
Okay. So you would say you really can't have enough of the devices. Like, they're not going to cancel each other out.
No, majority of people. So one thing that you need to know is most of the people, when, if I would be just hearing it for the first time, I say, okay, great, I'll try it. The first product that I'm going to buy is to install it on only one device that I use most of the time. And that will be my cell phone. I mean, me, maybe someone else is different, but if I would hear it for the first time, I'll buy one for myself. You see, once I install it on my cell phone is good. There is no negative effects anymore. But what if I'm going to take the cell phone and go into a bus? And there are 50 people in the bus, and every one of them has a cell phone. My device will not modify their whole electromagnetic field of every. It's only going to modify the EMF of my phone. But the electromagnetic pollution, the electromagnetic smog in that bus will be not fixed by the product that I installed on my phone. That's why we have the lifetune personal that acts as a protection from surrounding electromagnetic pollution. Okay?
Yeah. Or if your cell phone's not in the 2 meter range, then you would want that personal device. Okay. So that's, and you guys, these price points are like very affordable. And plus you got the 30% discount code that we mentioned at the top of the show. So this is an investment in your health. I mean, health is the greatest wealth. I could say that a million times. And, these are things, we live in the modern day technology, and we have to actually prioritize this. We can't just sit back and wait for legislation to catch up. We know that's not happening. 25 years later, they still haven't adjusted those standards. So, and I wanted to get Dimitry into how to test. Okay. So unlike other blockers that we talk about, you could use an EMF meter to test if it's actually blocking the radiation coming to you. But you guys, because of your technology, the only way to test would be an EEG. Is that correct?
Yes. Naturally, the first thing comes to people's mind, okay, I'll take EMF meter, I'll just see if it's changed. I mean, we're not blocking the EMF, therefore EMF is there, so it will record. But even if we did reduce that number, what really does it mean? EMF has a cumulative effect. So you had 34, you now have 12. What does it really mean? The only adequate and the only adequate response to the question whether, this type of device is working or not is your physiological response to the electromagnetic field one way or another, with and without the devices, either ours or somebody else. So we just launched a series of videos that is on our website, shot a demo of a live EEG 18-channel brain scan, was recorded and conducted by a neuroscientist. His name is on the video. He's from California. You can look him up. And we had a couple of subjects, and we recorded everything in the studio in LA. And you can see exactly how the product works and what it does. Now, this is just one method. We have other methods, but they all. And it's not only our product, it's all the products out there. You should only look at the physiological response. Because when I'm taking a pill, I got to take a sample of my blood. Like, you need to see the physiological response before, during, and after.
Right. And how are you feeling? I mean, I'm sure that we know the sleep disorders is a huge part of this electromagnetic radiation exposures. This is a huge pandemic of sleep disorders. People aren't getting quality sleep. They aren't sleeping through the night. They're having insomnia. They're waking up not rested. So it's like every aspect. They can't fall asleep because they're so wired, right? They feel, and you hear people say that, I feel so wired. I can't relax. I can't unwind. So is this something that you hear a lot from customers that they notice their sleep improved? Is that?
We have a lot of testimonials on our website and comments on social and letters of people sending us that they have improved on all these parameters. Now, most of the people that feel dramatic difference is like going from a cold bath to a hot bath. That's how they feel it. These are EHS people.
Right.
People that are not EHS, they also feel the difference, but it's just not like comes in as a like boom, like wow, like
right. It's subtle.
But you need to look at our testimonials, what people are saying. Many hundreds and thousands of people send us comments that they felt a lot better, and not just with sleep disorder, with many other things.
Right. Yes, many other things. And I do want to say, if you're listening and you have electromagnetic hypersensitivity, that you're not crazy, and you're not alone. And and I love how you said to me,
there are millions of people just in the US officially. Now, a lot of people that are hyper to electromagnetic field, they don't know that they are hyper to the electromagnetic field.
Yeah, they think they're going crazy, right? Give us some symptoms.
They start to watch their diet, like something is wrong with them. You really don't know what's wrong with you, and not always.
And the doctors don't know. Yeah, physicians here in the US, they have no idea about this. So, give us some symptoms, Dimitry, that someone would know that they're having hypersensitivity issues.
Well, there are many, but one that is very, very common is lack of concentration and brain fatigue when you just sit down and working on the computer, or you get a phone to read through the social media. You're going through the feed, right? And suddenly you have like a fog and brain fog. I mean, these are the things that automatically would call it as an EHS, but there are many others.
Yeah. Generally,
there are many doctors in the US that actually diagnose for that. You can find them, but it's not going to be your standard, like
it's not going to be your primary care physician.
These are not.
Yeah, it's not going to be your primary care. You're going to have to probably go to an environmental.
But you can diagnose for EHS in every US city, I'm sure, multiple times.
Yeah. And I think a good indicator is when you are out of that environment. I mean, people I know, when we first heard about this, they had to sleep in tents outside just to get relief. So that can be a clue too, that you feel better when you're away from all the technology. Things are off when you're around a lot of it. So last question, Dimitry, is tell our listeners some of the hot spots in our home. What are the main areas that we need to be concerned about in our homes?
The main place that you need to really concern about is where you sleep.
Okay. I love that.
Okay, so sleeping environment.
Yeah.
Okay.
If there is just that one place that you want to have EMF blocker, is that room. Okay, the rest is... That will be just one. I mean, in my case, I have it in my bedroom, in my kids' bedrooms, in this office where I sit right now, because a lot of the time I'm working from home and I'm home right now. And I have it in my car because I live in Toronto, and any commute here is an hour. Like no matter where you go, it's 1 hour. So it's like,
sounds like LA.
Like it's a 1 hour. So it's 2 hours you in the car, no matter what. Even you go groceries is like 2 hours. So
gosh, you'd fit in LA. Perfect. Yeah.
But LA has a beautiful scenery when you're stuck in traffic.
Oh, parts of it.
There is no snow and ice on the road. So that's the...
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, no, we wouldn't know what to do. We can't even handle rain here. We're kind of babies that way. We flip out if there's rain, right? Like, I can't go to the store. It's true. We're really...
I really enjoyed this conversation with you. You guys are so positive. You made my day. I'm seriously just by talking with you and seeing your faces and emotion and just being with you. You guys made my day. Seriously,
thank you.
You made our day. And you made the listeners' day too, Dimitry. That was excellent.
You made our day, and you're going to make a lot of people's day who are listening, because your devices are so incredible. And thank you for bringing this to the consumers and the population, and for taking that next step, because there is nothing else like AiresTech. And I'm not being paid to say that. That is my opinion. There is nothing else like. It's very different technology. And again, 8 peer-reviewed studies to back it up. So don't waste your money on anything that can't back it up with science, guys, because there is snake oil out there. I've seen it. So anyway, but it was really nice to meet you and see you in person too. Thanks for Zoom. Thank to God we can do that now with all this technology, the good parts of technology.
Thank you.
Yes. So remember, friends, you can still be connected in the wireless age while mitigating EMFs.
Dimitry, thank you so much for being with us today. Again, you have so much passion and knowledge to share with the world, and we thank you for making our homes and work environments safe for all of us to enjoy without the need to abandon our technology.
Friends, if you would like to learn more about AiresTech solutions, head now to AiresTech.com. That's AIRESTECH to shop. They've got you, they got your furry friends, and your family covered.
And stay tuned next week, friends, and get ready to up-level your health. See you then. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Take care.
This episode of the Healthy Home Hacks podcast has ended, but be sure to subscribe for more healthy living strategies and tactics to help you create the healthy home you've always dreamed of. And don't forget to rate and review so we can continue to bring you the best content. See you on the next episode.